Hey, how are you doing, guys? In this video, I'm going to show you Paint's Undo. It is a project which allows you to basically undo an image. Think of it as if you are pressing Ctrl Z, and every time you press Ctrl Z, it will take away from that image. And here's the project. It's by Ilyasviel. If we go down, we can see there's a brief explanation of what this particular project will do. It basically tells us that it's going to mimic the human drawing behaviors, and the model is trained in such a way that it can recognize anime or drawing paintings. But if you give it a photorealistic photograph or image, it's not going to do well in that case. And it tells us here that the name Paint Undo, it was inspired because of the undo button, usually Ctrl Z, and you can use it in digital painting software. So whenever you press Ctrl Z, it's going to undo that process. Now there's a quick get started here. Basically, you just need to clone it, get into it, and then install the requirements. I'm going to show you the process, but first, let's take a look at a demo. Okay, so here's the project. And we basically have only one spot where we can upload an image. And like I mentioned, make sure that the image is anime type or basically like a drawing sketch type of image. Okay, so here I have an image. And the first step is to use this generate prompt to basically generate a prompt. It's going to use the WD14 tagger. If you have comfyui, you probably have this tagger. It's going to automatically generate a text prompt for it. So simply click on this generate button and you're going to get something similar to this. Now this text field, it can be expanded and you can also remove certain words if you don't like it. So you can modify it. Now scrolling down, we can see that we have a couple of parameters. These would fall under the step 2, basically generate keyframes. And we have operation steps. This is going to determine how deep the model is going to go in the undoing process. So think of it like this. At the top, you have the final image. And then below it, you have one layer. Let's say it's the coloring layer. And then below that, there is the line art layer. And then down, we have a blank canvas. So by using these parameters here, the 400, 600, 800, and so on, you will be able to determine where in those layer stacks you are going to land up, and it's going to generate an image there. Now, what I found that is if you leave this operation steps to a lower number, it goes from 0 to 999. 0 means that you just want the original image. You're going to get exactly the same thing as the input image. If you put it way high, so let's say 999, you're going to get mostly some faded line sketches. Anything in between, maybe you're going to get something without color or something with just the line art. Different images will require different number of steps, and unfortunately there's no way to determine that use 500 you're going to get the best results. You will need to experiment, as is the case with all AI models. Then there's stage 1 seed. That's just your seed number. The image width and height. It is best to keep the image width and height low. I would say 512, 768 in that particular range. After all, when we look at the system requirements for this project, it tells us here that we can expect one image to take about 5 to 10 minutes, depending on the settings. And the typical result will be around these resolutions. Now, of course, at the top here, you can see that the inference was tested on a 24 gigabyte VRAM, NVIDIA 4090. And then it tells us that it may work on a 16 gigabyte V card, but not on an 8 gigabyte V card. All right. So theoretical minimal VRAM requirements is 10 to 12.5 gigabytes. So it's going to take quite a bit of resources. Now, number of steps, 50. I think that's reasonable for this particular case. CFG, again, reasonable. Then you have a negative prompt. The main parameter that you will be modifying is this operational steps. It's going to determine the final number of images that you're going to get. In this particular case, since we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps selected here, we are going to get back 8 images. We'll get the original image as our frame 0, or basically like the number 1 image. And then we are going to get back a blank white image. That's going to be the last frame, and then 6 images in between. Okay, so once you click on the generate keyframes here, it's going to generate the individual images. And I've changed the number of operational steps here. One is 400, then 500 and 600. So we are going to get back 3 images that will be generated, plus the original one and a white image. So 5 in total. This is just so that it takes less time. And here are the results. So this is the first image. That's basically the original image. And this is the 400 image, basically 400 operational step 1. And you can see the difference here. It's basically taking away from the original image. This is the original and this is the 400. So I hope you can see the difference there. And then from 400 to 500, there's barely any difference. We can see back here, there's a little bit that's missing. And then from 500 to 600, basically the background is gone. And the last image, like I said, we'll get back a blank image. So here's another example with just 1 operational step, and this is 700. So we can expect to see more of the image gone. So yeah, you can see that the color is also faded a little bit. So we can see that we are missing some shadows. You can see at the face, the neck here, we don't have those shadows now. And here's another example with 800 steps. And now we can see that the color is already gone and we are just left with the line art. So the higher we go, the more it's going to take away from the image. By the way, I would like to point out this important line here that says there are a lot of paid websites of paid undos on Google and social media. So if you are downloading this project to test out, make sure you are doing it from the GitHub link. Of course, I'm going to provide the link in the description below. You can see the link here as well. Okay, so for those of you with enough system resources, I'm going to show you how to install it. You will require Anaconda or mini Conda. You'll need some kind of Conda environment. I'm going to use Anaconda. You can go into your favorite search engine and then type in Anaconda distribution package. Usually the first link will be by anaconda.com and it may tell you to download. Click on the first link or the link that says download Anaconda. It will take you to Anaconda page where you're going to get an email field. You can skip the registration by clicking on skip registration. This will take you to the download page and select your operating system. For me, it's Windows and it's already detected that I am using Windows. So I'm going to click on the green download button. Once it's downloaded, it should be in your downloads folder. Double click on it and you will get the installer. Click on the next button here. This is just the license agreement. You will need to select I agree in order to continue. And then here I recommend that you just go with just me. If you use the all users, every time it will ask you for administrator's right. So just go for just me and then select the destination folder. I'm going to leave it as default. This is also the folder where all your virtual environments will be installed. Now on this screen, select the first one if you'd like to have a shortcut and then select the last one just to save up on some space. The two in-betweens, make sure that those are unchecked, especially if you already have a Python version installed on your system. Now click on install. It's going to install. Once it's done, it's going to tell you that there is a cloud version. We don't need that. Just click on yes. And then on this screen, if you don't want to see the getting started, it's basically just a browser page. You can uncheck the getting started and then select Launch Anaconda Navigator. Click on Finish. This will launch the Anaconda Navigator window. For our purposes, we are going to go with CMD. Click on the Launch button here. Now, alternatively, if you did not select the checkbox to launch Anaconda Navigator, you can go to your Start menu, and depending on your settings, it may show up under Recommended or Recently Installed section. You can also search it here at the top. Just search for Anaconda Navigator and you should get this icon here. Now, click on the CMD. It's going to start CMD and it will use the Python that's built in the Anaconda. That's why it says base here. For this project, we need Python 3.10. So first, let's get the project. Now, I will install the project in my D drive, and right now I am in my C drive. So for that, I'll need to type cd and then a /d, which means change the disk, and then type in the drive. And as you can see here, it changed the drive. Then I'm going to cd, change directory into an AI folder. Now next, we need to get the link to Paints Undo. So I'm going to go into the GitHub project, click on code, select HTTPS, and click on the copy URL to clipboard. Go back to the Anaconda prompt, type in git clone, and then paste the link. Now, once it's finished copying, you should see Paints Undo as a folder. So to go into it, we'll do cd paints-undo. By the way, if you're not comfortable, you can also take the folder, drag it into the CMD, and then make sure at the beginning that you put cd. And of course, in my case, I have to put the /d in order to change directory. Okay, so once you are at this steps, you are inside the paints-undo folder. Type in this line, conda create --name. You can give it any name. Just to make it easy, I'm going to choose paints_undo, all lowercase. This is going to be the name of the Python virtual environment. And then at the end, I will type Python equals to 3.10, basically telling Conda to create a Python virtual environment that is based on the version 3.10. Now, you may get a couple of prompts that will tell you to choose whether to proceed. Simply type in Y and then press enter. It will download some packages and create that virtual environment for you. Once it's completed, you should see a line that says to activate this environment, we'll need to type in conda activate and then the name of the virtual environment. In my case, it is Paints Undo. So I'm going to type this, conda activate paints_undo. And on the left side, you will see that the virtual environment, before it was base, now it should change to your virtual environment. Now next, type in python-m pip install xformers. This may take some time. Give it a minute or two. Once it's completed, type in python-m pip install -r requirements.txt. And this one again will take some time. It will need to download Torch and Torch Vision. So just give it a minute or two. It will depend on your internet connection as well. Now to start the application, you will need to type in Python space gradio_app.py. Now you will know that the application is ready when you see this line running on local URL. And then we have HTTP and it tells you the URL and the port there. So open your browser and at the top, type in this URL. You can also type in localhost like this and then type in the port. So it's going to be 7860 for me. Now, whether you type this one or this one here, 127.0.0.1, and then we have semicolon and then the port number, or you type localhost, it should bring you into the application like so. And then the step 1 would be to upload your image, generate the prompt, and then go into step 2 and then click on generate keyframes. Now, for some of you, when you type in Python space gradio underscore app.py, you may get this error where it says torch not compiled with CUDA enable. In this case, type in this line here, python-m pip uninstall, and then torch and torch vision. You will get 2 prompts. You'll need to type in Y for each one, and it's going to uninstall torch. Next, go into your browser and look for PyTorch. Usually the first result will be pytorch.org. Go into the website and then click on where it says get started. This will take you to the PyTorch download page. You'll basically get a command. Let me move my webcam. And in this section here, you need to choose the correct Python and the correct compute platform. So in my case, I'm going to choose PyTorch 2, Windows. I'm going to choose pip. The language will be Python. And in my case, I'm going to choose CUDA 11.8. Now, once you've made these selections, it will give you a command here. And in this particular case, it says pip 3. But I know for me, because I'm on Windows, I will need to type in pip without the 3. So go back to the CMD and I'm going to type in python-m pip install and then paste those commands there, torch, torch vision, torch audio, and then we have basically a link for the CUDA 11.8. Going to take a while depending on your internet connection. Give it some time. Once it's completed, try the Python space gradio underscore app.py once again. It may also ask you to reinstall Xformers. So in that particular case, I did not get that prompt, but if you do get that prompt, first uninstall Xformers and then reinstall it. It will give you the command after there. All right, so that is it. I hope you found this project interesting and let me know what you would use this project for, basically the use case of it. I can see it maybe for recoloring or maybe to make like children's coloring book. But other than that, I don't have a lot of ideas. All right, so that is it for me. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments down below. Again, I would like to know your opinion on this project. Thank you for watching. Like the video if you'd liked it. Subscribe if you have not, and I will see you in the next one.